premiering the Waterman's Icons. It's a series of 25 pieces of bas-relief art by Randy Morgan, and I'm collaborating with Randy and sort of coming up with a group of people. We're doing it in batches of 5. These 5 pieces are sort of the genesis of the entire 25-piece series.
The first 5 sculptures were making the Hawaiians first. So the Hawaiians are a series of 5 sculptures, starting with the Babe Ruth of surfing, Duke Hanamoko, my personal favorite, GERRY Lopez, who I grew up watching all those surf movies where he would get buried deep in the hole and you think you wouldn't see him for a while and then he'd pop out the other end, but still with just a casual stance. Then we have Buttons, who's one of the friendliest guys you've ever met if you've been to Hawaii. He's just the total aloha spirit. Eddie would go. This is Eddie Aikau. This is him surfing his favorite spot, Waimea.
The moment you look at this piece, you know this is Eddie Aikau. And you know that he's on the Hokulea. And you know he's taking off in a big wave at sunset, and there's Kaena Point in the background. And that's the Hokulea where he paddles, to his death. And so this one piece sort of tells multiple stories about Eddie Aikau. And it was sort of like, for me, it's another way of honoring Eddie and the time that we spent together out in some big waves. And it's all of these people that are in this entire series, except for Duke, of course, I knew personally. I've got personal stories to tell, and a lot of history and a lot of waves written together. So it's there's a deep meaning for me, and so my collaboration with Randy, it's great to be able to actually see someone put into like a physical reality some of these ideas that I have in my mind. Like I have a mental image of all of these things, but to see it actually put together in a piece of artwork is just really spectacular.
My inspiration is to be a storyteller. So that's what we're trying to do here, is we're telling the story of each one of these guys that we're honoring. And like GERRY Lopez, I mean, his story is deep in the surfing pipeline. Buttons, he was a town guy. So you got the Velziland and the town sculptures. We put in an element, we put a architectural element, we put the Royal Hawaiian. When I was making that piece, I was listening to the radio and I was trying to figure out how we were going to finish that piece up. And then Somewhere Over the Rainbow came on, and Israel, singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. He's also passed away. So I put him in and it balanced it out with a little happy ukulele music.
There's so many stories, of me and Eddie out in big waves, and I have a history of conflict in Hawaii, and Eddie was one of the peacemakers, and so have so many really fantastic memories of sort of growing up in my youth and surfing in Hawaii, and competing against these people, and with Duke Hanamoko, of course, he's the father of modern surfing in Australia. And I won the Duke Hanamoko Trophy as a junior, most emerging junior in 1968. I won the Duke Hanamoko Surf Championships in 1975, and close out Waimea Bay. All of these pieces have like really deep meaning for me, and there's really great stories for it. The collaboration between Randy and I, we sort of decide who the people are, and I go and research and I come up with all of these photographs that sort of represent to me my vision of all of the years that I've known all of these people. And then we get them together, and Randy creates like a montage of each of those images into a single piece.
Art's a little bit of planning. As you know, this is a photographer. You set things up, and then there's a little bit of magic, and there's just kind of sometimes you're going in one direction and you end up going in another. And I don't know. It's just I do what I do every day. Well, I'm going down a path. I'd love to see my art just keep going down the same path. I'd love to have the 5 Californians, the next 5 in our series, and complete the South Bay Wall by then, the Beach Boy Wall, we're calling it.
These Waterman's Icons, in another year we would have rolled out 5 Californians, and these people will be super interesting in their own right. They're the people that I grew up looking at Surfer magazine when I was a kid back in Western Australia, and you know, seeing David Nueva and you know, Mickey Munoz with the Quasimodo and all of these sorts of things are just sort of like iconic things for me as a kid growing up. And now I know all these people and, you know, surf with them as well. And so we'll be rolling out over the next couple of years these 25 pieces. You know, the 5 pieces after the Californians will be the Australians. And, you know, of course, there's, you know, 1,000 stories that I have about those guys. And so we'll be rolling that out. But Randy and I have this sort of collaboration. We love to do many of the same things. You know, he's a very charismatic guy. Me, I'm just a simple surfer. And, you know, we enjoy sort of brainstorming about these sorts of things. And, you know, I'm one of the few people that Randy will take criticism from. Like, oh no, we need to change that, we need to do this. Because in a sense, we do have a really good working relationship as collaborators on these things.
Hopefully we're going to be doing a video on the Waterman's Wall and the story of the Waterman's Wall. So I'm a visual storyteller too. And that's what I really want to do, is tell stories. And that's what I want to do with my art. Okay, so this piece is called Hawaiian Gods. It's actually an architectural piece. When I made this piece, I first made the wave, and it's Reno Avalera, Eddie Aikau, and Larry Bertelman, 3 Hawaiians that dominated Sunset Beach in the 70s. That's why it's called Hawaiian Gods. Our second surfer in the series is Buttons Kaluhio Kalani, and Buttons typified the aloha spirit like no one else. He was a town guy, and he was a happy-go-lucky Hawaiian that just created aloha spirit wherever he went. And number 3 in the series of Hawaiians is GERRY Lopez, who is one of my personal favorite surfers. I used to go in the 70s and watch those surfboard films where his casual style getting into the tube, and then you think you lost him, and 7 or 8 seconds later, you think it was over, and he would come popping out eating a ham sandwich. I mean, the guy was Mr. Casual. So the Duke sculpture is, you know, is one of the most revered surfers. He's the father of surfing. He's the man who brought surfing around the world. The sculpture is mounted on a replica Duke circa 1927 surfboard, exact replica of the Duke's board, which is made by Gary Linden, a legendary surfboard maker and shaper and a friend of Kanga's. The Duke brought surfing around the globe and is the father of surfing. And the last sculpture in this series is Eddie, which is Eddie Aikau surfing Waimea, and then his boat, the Hokulea, going around Kaena Point in the boat that he was lost on. Thus the phrase on all the bumper stickers in Hawaii, Eddie would go.